You remember the Monopoly man wearing a monocle. You can picture it right now. The top hat, the white mustache, the little round glass perched over one eye. You've seen it 1,000 times on the box, on the cards, in every game of Monopoly you've ever played. He has never worn a monocle. Not once. Not in any version of the box. Not in any edition of the game, not in a single piece of official artwork in the entire 90-year history of Monopoly. But you remember it. So does almost everyone you know. This isn't a trick question. Millions of people carry the exact same false memory, down to the same detail, independently of each other. This is the Mandela Effect. The name comes from a woman named Fiona Broome. In 2009, she mentioned to someone that she distinctly remembered Nelson Mandela dying in a South African prison in the 1980s. She remembered the news coverage. She remembered his funeral on television. She remembered the speech his widow gave. None of it happened. Mandela was released from prison in 1990. He became president of South Africa. He served until 1999. He died in December 2013 at the age of 95, 4 years after Broome's conversation. But when she mentioned her memory online, thousands of people came forward saying they remembered the exact same thing. Broome gave it a name. Within years, people had cataloged hundreds of these shared false memories. The Berenstain Bears. Nearly everyone swears the name was spelled Berenstein with an E-I-N. It wasn't. It was always A-I-N. Every single book cover, always A-I-N. Fruit of the loom. People remember a cornucopia behind the fruit in the logo. There has never been a cornucopia. Each one follows the same pattern, a specific confident memory shared by an enormous number of people. The question is, how do millions of people get it wrong the same way? The simplest answer is that humans are bad at remembering things. They point toward the same imaginary detail as if something is guiding them there. The first real window into what's happening came from a psychologist named Frederick Bartlett at Cambridge. In 1932, he ran an experiment that was decades ahead of its time. He gave British university students an unfamiliar Native American folktale called The War of the Ghosts. It was full of supernatural elements and narrative logic that didn't match Western storytelling conventions. Then he asked them to retell it from memory, repeatedly, over weeks and months. What happened was striking. The students didn't just forget details. They replaced them. They dropped the supernatural elements and reorganized the plot to match their own cultural logic. They added details that were never in the original story, and every single one of them was completely confident that their version was accurate. Bartlett's conclusion changed how scientists thought about memory. Memory is not a recording, it's a reconstruction. Every time you remember something, your brain doesn't play back a tape. It rebuilds the scene from fragments, fills in the gaps with whatever fits your expectations, and hands you the finished product as if it were raw footage. You don't experience a rebuilt memory as uncertain. You experience it as truth. But the Mandela Effect requires something beyond individual reconstruction error. It requires millions of brains to independently build the same wrong detail without coordination. In the 1970s, a psychologist named Elizabeth Loftus at the University of California began running experiments that would reshape our understanding of memory for the next half-century. In her most famous study, she showed participants a video of a car accident. Then she asked them questions about it. When she used the phrase, "How fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other?" participants estimated higher speeds. They were also more likely to report seeing broken glass scattered across the road. There was no broken glass in the video. When she replaced smashed with hit, the speed estimates dropped. The broken glass vanished from their memories entirely. A single word in a question had inserted a physical object into a scene they had watched with their own eyes. And once it was there, they couldn't distinguish it from what they had actually seen. Their brains filed it in the same place, tagged it with the same confidence, and retrieved it with the same feeling of certainty as every other detail. Loftus went further. In later experiments, she successfully implanted entirely fabricated childhood memories into adult participants, getting lost in a shopping mall, nearly drowning at a family picnic, spilling punch at a wedding, events that never happened. Around 25% of participants didn't just accept these memories, they began embellishing them. They remembered what the mall looked like. They remembered who found them. They could describe the expression on their mother's face. So memory can be wrong. It can be rewritten by a single word, and it can construct entire episodes from nothing. But The Mandela Effect still requires one more ingredient. This is where schema theory comes in. Your brain doesn't store every pixel of everything you see. That would require impossible amounts of processing power and biological energy. Instead, it stores patterns, templates, compressed categories, schemas. But here's where it gets genuinely unsettling. If your brain is constantly reconstructing memories rather than replaying them, then every memory you carry right now is an approximation, a scene your brain assembled from fragments, shaped by your expectations and filled in by patterns you never chose. In 2000, neuroscientist Karim Nader at McGill University, he demonstrated that every time a memory is recalled, it becomes temporarily unstable at the molecular level. The proteins holding the memory together literally dissolve. The act of remembering disassembles the memory. It then has to be reconsolidated, rebuilt, and stored again from scratch. But the version that gets stored back isn't identical to the one you pulled out. It's been subtly reshaped by your current mood, your current knowledge, your current beliefs, everything that's changed in you since the last time you remembered it. You have never once replayed a memory, you've only ever rebuilt one. And the most unsettling part isn't that some of those memories are wrong, it's that you have absolutely no way to know which ones